Hey guys, Rotax700 here. Today I want to do kind of a continuation on another creator's series that I saw. His name's Jason Blier. He's got a bunch of videos called on YouTube called the Ski-Doo Triple Series, talking about his '97 Formula 3 and kind of some of the pitfalls he ran into building that sled. And I kind of wanted to do a continuation of that with my '97 Moxie 800 and kind of help out some guys who maybe were in the same situation I was in and explain some of the mistakes I made maybe. So this will be kind of a series of videos. This is kind of an intro to this one, and I'd like to go into some more detailed parts, including the carbs. I'd like to do a video on separately, and just talk about some of the issues I ran into, some of the pitfalls I had, and mistakes I made. Now the first thing that I want to talk about, and the thing that I cannot stress enough, is having enough space to properly do this build. It takes an enormous amount of space to store all the parts and pieces you're going to be taking off of this thing, and most people underestimate that. As you can tell, this isn't a very big building. It's 16 foot by 20 foot, and there's an enormous amount of shit in here. This is my parents' shed. I don't have a garage of my own at my house, and there's not really much I can do about that. We're looking at the carburetors now, and I think this is a good place to bring up the enormous amount of disinformation there is out there surrounding these snowmobiles. It seems like everybody and their brother owned one back in the day, and whether or not that is true, that was going on 20 years ago at this point, and people just don't have the best memories at best case scenario, and at worst case scenario, they're just downright lying to you. So you need to be able to weed out the good information from the bad, as well as determine what sources are trustworthy and what ones aren't. And take everything you see with a grain of salt, including what I'm saying right now. I'm not an expert, I'm just sharing my experiences. The best sources I have found are the stock service manuals, and Do Talk is a great forum, but you need to be able to discern the difference between someone who knows what they're talking about and someone who doesn't. Otherwise, it'll just lead you in a wild goose chase. Another big issue surrounding these snowmobiles and the used snowmobile market in general is the massive amount of scammers out there trying to sell parts that don't exist. They steal people's photos and make listing descriptions that make 0 sense, and you just need to be able to tell the difference between somebody who has their hands on the part and knows what they're talking about and somebody who has stolen somebody else's pictures online and is just trying to make a quick buck. Now, some other things I'd like to talk about in this series. We mentioned I'd like to do a specific video for the carburetors and where you can still get parts for these old flat side Kunis. I'd like to talk about the reed cages and differences in stock reeds versus the V-Force 1s, 2s, and 3s, and determining what you have in your sled, and differences between the 4 different possible cages, or voice and rage cages. I don't have any experience with them, but if somebody else has and would like to chime in, I'd be more than happy to take your advice. Like I said, I'm not an expert. Everything here is just my experiences and what I ran into. I'd like to talk about the chassis, go over some things that I think are important, pitfalls that I ran into, like I said, and ways you can overcome them. If you'd like to see some content like that, and you're interested in these old triples and keeping them running, tune into the next video. I don't really have any time schedule where I'd like that to come out, but I've got some parts coming in this week, and I'm hoping to get started on the carburetors here pretty soon. So if you like this video, leave a comment down below, subscribe, watch the next one, do whatever you gotta do, drink a cold beer, and have a good night.